Yo, what's going on, everyone? LogicDawg here. Today we're taking a look at Escape from Tarkov and the settings to give you the best FPS. If you want the TLDR, put everything on low. That will give you the best FPS performance that you can find in the game. But if you really want to try to find a good balance of quality and then FPS, stick around and I'll show you more. Okay, I'm just gonna fade away. Okay. So now that we're faded into the background, let me show you guys some settings. So starting with screen resolution, this should just match your monitor. Keep in mind that if you recently upgraded your monitor and you're finding the game is struggling, that could be because the new monitor is a higher resolution than what your graphics card can currently handle. So if you got a new 4K monitor, for example, and you're running it in 4K and you haven't upgraded your graphics card and you're like, oh my god, this game runs like crap, it's probably because the graphics card can't handle the resolution. Turning it down might help, but it might make the game look a little fuzzy just because the resolution is different than what the monitor supports and it's got a down sample. So just keep that in mind when you are, or if you have gotten a new monitor. Going from there, screen mode. This really, full screen borderless is usually the best ones to choose for just G-Sync compatibility, Vsync compatibility, Reflex, those kinds of things. It just helps the graphics card's drivers recognize what is actually needing those kinds of resources, and it does that by identifying full screen applications or bordered or windowed, some cases windowed applications. But for me personally, through the testing I've done, I've actually gotten a slight FPS increase with borderless. I still keep it full screen, but it's was very minimal. So, and it could be just because I run multiple monitors, but just keep that in mind. Vsync you can choose to have on if you don't have Nvidia Reflex on. It's usually one or the other. Nvidia Reflex is a little bit more responsive in terms of input lag and that kind of thing. I like it a lot more, but one thing to take note of is if you're using OBS to screen record or stream and you're using the NDI plugin, Vsync can, or the Reflex can cause some issues with like stuttering and stuff. So if you are using OBS NDI, just keep that in mind that you're going to want to probably use Vsync instead. Texture quality and shadow quality are the two that are going to give you the biggest FPS difference, along with HBAO and SSR, but we'll start with the two at the top. So texture quality, shadow quality, again, you can just jump it down to low if you want, or you can, same with shadow quality, put it on low and you'll get the best FPS. But the best thing I could tell you is that medium on both these settings is a very good middle ground. The high on this it's really between the two of these doesn't make much of a difference. It's very minimal, and the amount of performance that you gain from going from high to medium and the shadow quality is a lot better than just keeping it on high. So just keep that in mind. I would definitely first thing drop these down to medium and give that a shot if you're having some performance issues. Anti-Aliasing is really up to you. It's if you see jagged edges and stuff like that, I find TAA high to look the best. But you'll notice like jagged edges on the corners of objects and stuff like that. If they don't look naturally like smooth, I would just say, it's hard to say, but if it doesn't look naturally smooth, if it looks abnormally jagged, it's because something's up with the anti-aliasing. I would check either maybe try FXAA, TAA, or TA high and see if either of those works. It really depends on the graphics cards and how well these modes work. And then the resampling is if you wanted to either downsample or super sampling, which just means it kind of downgrades the resolution or doubles the resolution. You don't recommend it. Takes a lot of extra performance. HBAO, so this is for ambient inclusions. this will make another big difference. You can actually change this in a RAID though. So what I would recommend doing is go into an offline RAID, and if you have an Nvidia card, you can hit Alt Enter, or sorry, not Alt R, and that will pull up the FPS meter that's built into like the Nvidia GeForce Experience if you're using that. And you can see your frame rates from there and adjust these accordingly. But HBAO, there's not really too much of a difference in terms of like visual quality. You can see here on the side by side how it looks between color very high and off. The next one is SSR. So this one is for the reflections, mainly off of water or any kind of reflective surfaces. It tracks the real-time reflections. Again, I'll show you the side-by-side comparison, but this will make another huge performance difference. Now, that doesn't mean if you turn this off, then all of a sudden, you know, because this gives you 15 FPS and this one gives you 15 FPS, you're going to get an extra 30 FPS. But it does make a significant difference having both these off. I definitely, like I said, would recommend trying to go into a RAID and just see which one personally you like. If you're looking for a little better quality, again, medium is pretty decent for SSR, and medium again for HBAO is a pretty good middle ground. Anisotropic filtering, this doesn't make too much of a performance difference. It does help turning it off, but it's not as much of an increase as you would think. And then the Nvidia low latency, I do on and boost. I haven't really noticed a difference between on and on boost other than the input lag. So I definitely recommend going with the on boost, and there's not really much of a performance difference there in terms of like if you have it off, obviously quality and the screen isn't as great. So on and boost was the way to go. As far as these check marks down at the bottom, I just leave them off. Like personally, I haven't seen any difference that's worth sacrificing performance for. But yeah, we'll come back on the screen. But yeah, that's everything I got for you guys right now. Thanks for watching. You know, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. We'd be glad to answer anything that you got. But otherwise, we'll see you next time.